Alright guys, here's part, 9? I don't even remember anymore. But anyway, whatever part this is of the series is buttoning her back up. Yeah, it looks like basically when you take a stormtrooper's armor off and you find a Borg underneath. And it's a pain in the ass, but here you go. For your enjoyment. This part, because of this has an electrical connection, and this is where a couple bolts go on, the radio goes here. So this is a real pain in the butt part to get in place. And when I ran the engine, it ran fine. I think actually ran better. I think the oil filter was just clogged. It's something that you want to do every once in a while. You know, oil filters, they said $6. $20 for the air filter. They look fine, but I'm going to do a long trip, so let's get the engine running as good as possible. Connect that. This is the air pump, which is underneath the saddlebag back here. That was just the radio shelter falling into place. Oops. Lining up for this little vent, this little thing is kind of tough. Just to show you what it is, I'm going to show you what it does. It lifts this little flap, and now this is open, so air flows over the exhaust manifold, and basically you got hot feet when the vents decide they want to stay open. On the other side, this would constantly flop, and I realized it actually just wasn't even connected, so it was constantly closed. But the vents themselves are eventually going to wear out. I may have to get new ones because they keep closing on their own. Where did I put? Nope, my handy dandy magnetic. These two nuts are for the radio shelter. What I do is I actually do put them back into I try to put everything back into place so I remember where I got it from. This one, if you notice, it's got a nut. T-38 trainer flying overhead. NASA. Now, normally I have 10 millimeter deep well. 10 millimeter, you buy them in bulk, you will lose one almost every time. It's a standard mechanics joke, guys. Haha now or haha later. But seriously, 10 millimeter sockets for some reason always seem to be able to disappear. This is a 1/4 inch drive. I use a 1/4 inch adapter on a 3/8. Why do I do a 1/4 inch on a 3/8? It's just easier. Get a little more torque. Sometimes you're doing what we call gluten tight. Pretend German. Obviously, I think you can figure out it means good and tight. Now, when you put a fastener in, back it out, counterclockwise if it's a clockwise fastener. First, why? Guarantees you're not going to strip it or put it in incorrectly. I only needed to use this once because I didn't remove the corresponding panel on the other side. Didn't need to. I just needed to access the fuel filter and the air, be able to pull the air box off to the side. I didn't need to lift it up. So now I just grab my handy dandy screws. Magnetic. Always do magnetic if you can. This screw with the big washer on it goes in here. That's one screw that I always kind of miss when I was like, why is this panel coming out so hard? Hey, dumbass, you forgot to put the screw in. Or you forgot to take the screw out. Snug it up. The other one's on the top. Here's a trick I learned. the hard way. This is for this middle screw is for the little pocket. And if I tighten it up, most of the way, not all the way, the two screws for the top here, their bottom parts, the corresponding holes that they fall into, will stay in place. The whole panel usually tends to fall off, but like I said, getting them started is always fun. Back that out of here, let it slide around. Yeah, I need to slide around. There we go. I think I felt it going. These are just screws, the Japanese industrial standard, like I told you before. On the other side, I actually have Phillips because I dropped one. So, I mean, it's not that hard to do. You just go into Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. Go to the bulk screw aisle, measure. It's easy to measure. You just measure the type of screw you got. Buy them in bulk, but write on the bag what you bought them for. You know, what they're replacing. I need to get a bunch of little poly bags, those little tiny ones. The parts bags, so that I can put everything back into place. Now normally, now that this is in place, I can put this lower side panel back on. The side panel that's missing on here. The one that's seafoam green. Now I'm going to do a tour you around. I did replace the other one yesterday. I didn't do a video on it. Came in. It fits in place. Everything is good. Frankenbike lives. Yes, it's now officially going to be known as Frankenbike. I don't know if I can. That's the best I'm going to be able to do for the airbox. Well, not the airbox, but the radio shelter. Now it's to get the radio shelter in. Since I didn't unplug the radio, I just shoved it back a little bit. It's not that hard to do. Back these nuts back off. They're 10 millimeter again. Always use an extension if you can. Just so you're not hitting things. It's just a real pain in the butt to do because I have to wiggle it around. Get this cable back in place. The handlebars. I got to wiggle it around the handlebars. I'm not taking the handlebars off. Now I'm going to go on the other side because I have to attach a switch. And not screw up the one of the cables. Let me find the wiring for the switch. There it is. Did I do it back in front? Oops, let me tighten this up a little, the switch up a little bit. I don't need it falling off. I can't replace that on the side of the road. Nice thing is this is what we call a dual pole dipole switch. If I wire it backwards, it'll just work backwards. I'll just do it the opposite way of how I've been doing it. No biggie. God, baby, drop down. What is in the way? There's always something that gets in the way. It's the cable. Yeah, it's the cable. There's also two little switches in here. Bingo. Bango bongo. That looks good on that side. Snug these little switches down. I just close the fuel flap. Oops. It's a good thing I didn't put it all back on because I fucked up. I just fucked up again. I forgot to put the thing for the air intake back on. So now I'm going to undo what I just did. And since I closed the fuel flap, I need my keys. You're always going to screw something up, guys. As long as you're going to screw something up, do it minor. Something that's merely just an annoyance. Where am I going to put my keys? Over here. You know, it's just a minor annoyance. I don't even know why these little flaps are here. They only really work on one side. Alright, put that back off. Disconnect that again. Actually, no, maybe I won't even disconnect it. Just back it out. Just back it up as far as I need to. That's all I need. That's all I need. I'm gonna get a new seal of this. Even in there. Let's see. Okay. Actually, now we'll have to undo the switch. I did something else. I forgot to do something else too. Air sensor, I forgot to plug back in. Relatively minor stuff, but if you forget to do some of this stuff, it's going to come out and bite you in the ass as you're cruising down the road. The seal is all messed up. I have to try to put it back in place best I can. Come on, baby. Get in there. What's in the way? Bad idea. Put this in place. Slide the box back in. That's not gonna work either. Okay, yeah, I'm talking to myself. There's not much else I can do on here. I gotta get it in there. Key is just at this point. There we go. There. That's as good as it's gonna get. It's not perfect. It really isn't. But it'll work, and that's what matters right now. It'll work. If you're talking a 20-something-year-old machine, it'll work. It's good enough. Some days. So, realign the switch, put it back nice and neat. Uh-oh, hope I didn't just break something. Okay. Put the wires back on. That back in place. Route that cable around there. Drop the dogs. Wire it back in place. That's where it should be. That's where it should be. That's where it should be. That's there. Those are in place. No, I'm not turning on the radio. I don't need a copyright strike. Hand tight first. Good enough. All right, I'm going to end it here. cut right to the next part almost immediately.